Hello, my name is Chantel, and today we're going to be reading Bunny's Book Club by Annie Silveresto, illustrated by Tatiana Maya Weiss. So first, what animals do you see on the cover? Do you see Bunny? Who do you think these other animals are? Bunny's Book Club. What do you think the purpose of this picture is? What do you notice about the background? Bunny's Book Club by Annie Silveresto, illustrated by Tatiana Maya Weiss. Bunny loved books. See, there's Bunny. He loved them ever since he first heard the lady with the red glasses reading outside the library. As he listened, Bunny imagined himself climbing mountains, captaining a ship, and ruling a kingdom. What kind of books make you feel this way? Do you ever feel like you're climbing mountains or captaining a ship or ruling a kingdom? But when summer ended, story time moved back inside. Bunny wasn't sure if animals were allowed in the library, but Bunny was sure he couldn't live without books. Night after night, he could hardly sleep for wishing. He had to do something. So with a flashlight in his paws and hope in his heart, Bunny jumped out of bed and tiptoed through the dark. So based on what we've read so far, what do you think Bunny's going to do to be able to read books again? Looks like he has a flashlight over here. What do we think he's going to go do? But when he reached the library door, it was locked. So were the windows. Bunny tried digging and climbing and yanking, but nothing worked. Until finally he noticed. So look at this picture. So what do we think Bunny is doing here? Well, based on what we read, we know that he is climbing and digging and yanking. So let's continue to read and see what Bunny is up to. Until finally he noticed the book return. The shiny handle was far above his head, but it was no match for a high-hopping bunny hungry for books. So what do you notice about the images on these pages? What do you think the author's trying to do by putting the shapes inside of the clouds? Bunny leapt. He clung to the bar, flung himself over, and wriggled his cottontail through the slot. He landed inside with a thud. So look at this page. Why do you think the author wrote thud like this? Bunny's eyes sparkled at the sight of the shelves bursting with books. It was better than a field full of crunchy carrots. Bunny didn't know where to start. He took a deep breath. It smelled as if he were wrapped inside the pages of his favorite books. He followed his nose to the adventure section. There he found stories about swashbucklers, sharks, and superheroes. Bunny greedily grabbed them all. So notice on this page how the words are written differently across the page. Why do you think they're written like this? What is the author trying to do by writing them like this? His whiskers twitching with excitement, he slipped his treasures through the book slot, one by one. Then, performing his best balancing act, Bunny wobbled home. He couldn't wait to dig in. What does the word wobbled mean? Can anyone show me what it looks like to wobble? And so Bunny returned to the library each night. He searched and he sneaked, then he scurried back home. Then, one evening, a loud knock startled Bunny. He closed his books and he opened the door. "Where have you been?" asked Porcupine. "Reading," said Bunny. "Why?" said Porcupine. Bunny's eyes popped wide open. "Why?" he sputtered. "Have you ever been to the library?" It was time for Bunny to let Porcupine in on his secret. So in this scene, why do you think Bunny closed his book so fast before opening the door? How do you think Bunny felt when that knock came on the door while he was reading his books? "Are you sure this is a good idea?" said Porcupine. "Calm your quills," said Bunny. "I'm too prickly. I'll never fit." Bunny pushed and shoved until pop went Porcupine. Bunny slipped in and flipped on the flashlight. "Whoa," said Porcupine. "I know," said Bunny. "Do you think there's a story about balloons?" "I've always wondered about balloons." "Most definitely," said Bunny. So remember how we talked about a few pages back the word thud? We'll take a look at the word pop on this page. What do you notice about the two words? Why do you think the author wrote those two words like that? Sure enough, Porcupine found books on balloons, and on deserts and dunes, and caterpillars and coons. When Bunny handed him one about hedgehogs, he hugged it. So did you hear a rhyme on this page? What words rhyme? Let me go back and read it again. Sure enough, Porcupine found books on balloons, and on deserts and dunes, and caterpillars and coons. When Bunny handed him one about hedgehogs, he hugged it. Can you point out those words now? The two friends took turns cramming books out the slot. Their towers teetered so high they could barely carry them. Back at Bunny's, they cozied up with cups of tea and carrot muffins. Together, they read until sunrise. One night, Bear noticed the light on at Bunny's. He opened the door and tripped over a stack of books. "What's going on?" said Bear. "Here," said Bunny, handing him a book. Bear made room and made himself comfortable. Soon, more curious animals began visiting. "Do you have any books about outer space?" said Bird. "Or about volcanoes?" said Mole. "I'd like a story about ghosts," said Mouse. "I think it's time for a field trip," said Bunny. One by one, the animals stuffed themselves inside the library. Bear caused a little bit of a delay. They scattered about, sniffing the stacks, pawing over the pages. Squirrel gathered stories about the circus. Raccoon nabbed one about outlaws and bandits. Frog found a fairy tale. No one heard the keys in the front door. No one heard the click, clack, clanking of footsteps. No one heard the light flick on. So take a look at this page. Why do you think the background is purple? "What do we have here?" said the librarian. The animals looked up in shock. Bunny gasped. Porcupine gasped. And Bear groaned. "Oh." "Follow me." The animals marched slowly behind her. "We're done for," whispered Porcupine. "All libraries have rules," said the librarian sternly. Bunny's whiskers trembled. Porcupine's back bristled. Bear eyed the door. Bunny stepped forward to take the blame. The librarian leaned down. So how do you think Bunny, Bear, Porcupine, how do you think all the animals felt when the librarian walked in? How do you know? What clues did we read in this page that told us how the animals felt? The first rule is, every book lover must have one of these, she said. She handed Bunny and his friends shiny new library cards. Now, you may borrow books, she said, smiling, as long as you return them, of course. Bunny couldn't believe his ears. They could keep coming to the library. He beamed at his fellow readers, then bounced to the bookshelves. He picked up the perfect book, and then he proudly checked it out, the very first official selection for Bunny's Book Club. So how did the animal's emotions change between the 2 pages after talking to the librarian? I'll flip back so you can look at the last 2 pages. Then the back cover says, when you open a good book, you discover a world. So what are some of your favorite books? What books help you discover another world?